Hey everybody, it's a special edition of All Things Advocacy. In case you forgot, I'm Josh Askvig, State Director of AARP North Dakota, and with me is our Associate State Director of Advocacy, Janelle Most. Janelle, we haven't done this in a while.
No, it's been a long time. It's good to see everybody. It's good to be back here.
Yeah, it's great. So, for those of you wondering, no, the legislature's not back in session. That's when we normally do these, but that doesn't mean AARP hasn't been working and fighting for you. And that's why we want to do this special edition update, because just yesterday we were in front of the North Dakota Public Service Commission fighting for Xcel Energy residential customers. Yes?
Yes, absolutely. The number one issue we always hear from consumers and our members is prescription drugs, but really high on that list is utility costs. We know that customers in North Dakota really struggle to pay their utility bills, and so we were there yesterday, really advocating and making sure that your voices were heard to make sure that utility rates stay reasonable and fair for consumers.
So Xcel Energy filed a rate increase late last year. We ended up intervening, which allowed us to appear in front of the Public Service Commission yesterday. Remind viewers what were kind of the three issues we had with Xcel's original proposal.
So originally, and as Josh said, we had our advocate and our expert and our attorney here yesterday, and the three issues that were really most, the things that we were mitigating was the increase was too high. The residential payers were paying too much of the increase. When you looked at that increase, residential customers were paying way more than other customers. The other thing was that residential customers were paying that in a fixed charge. And why that's troublesome for consumers is that it doesn't allow you to control your utility bill, and that $24 increase was way too high for residential customers.
It was an increase from 18, proposed increase from 18 to 24, and then the company had actually backed that down to about $22 before yesterday's hearing, if I remember correctly. And so the three issues: the size of the increase was too big.
Yeah.
Once you divided up the increase, residentials were paying an unfair amount, and then once it got to residentials, how they collected that, residential customers' ability to control their own bill and mitigate that increase was really taken away. So what happened yesterday?
So yesterday, with our attorney and our expert witness, what we had already said was we agreed to, the company was there mitigating their case, saying this is what, was important to them. We were there advocating on behalf of consumers. We'd already agreed that the increase that they had originally proposed, and we'd come down on that. But what the two issues that were still important that we wanted to make sure was important to you is that residential customers were paying too much of that increase. Again, compared to other customers, when you looked at that rate increase, residential customers were paying more of that. And that increase, again, was, too much on that fixed charge. So if you and I wanted to control our ability to control our bills, it really limits that ability to control that.
Yeah, it does. And so company made its case, we made our case. There's a Public Service Commission advocacy staff that made their case. You were in the room all day as part of it. Surprisingly, they had scheduled 3 days. They got done in a day, which I think could be good news, could be bad news. It just means we got through the case much quicker than they originally thought. What's next?
So in the next couple of weeks, the Public Service Commission, they'll schedule some working sessions. They're going to review, the case that we made, the case that the company made, and they'll hopefully come to a decision. And we're hoping that we made our voice pretty clear about what was important to consumers, why we want to continue to make sure that your utility bills are fair and reasonable, and that you as a consumer are not paying more than any other customer. So we're hoping there'll be a good decision, that we can come to a conclusion with the company that we agree to, and continue to work on behalf of consumers to make sure that their voice is there in the room.
Yeah, we know, again, we've heard from many of you that utility issues are really a pocketbook issue for you, and that we're going to continue to stand up when we can and where we can to make sure your voice is a part of those discussions. And I think the encouraging thing was, unfortunately, I wasn't able to be there at the end of the day, but I know from you, from our expert witness, and from our attorney, that all three of the Public Service Commissioners thanked us for standing up and being there as part of the discussion. That doesn't necessarily mean they'll agree with us. We hope, we'll see what happens and whatnot, but that they understood the value of us being in the room and helping to fight for residential customers like you. So with that, hopefully we can do this sooner. We don't have such a large gap between this one and the next one, but we'll keep you apprised of what's happening with this case and other issues in front of either the legislature or the Public Service Commission or other places where we're advocating for you. So with that, this has been another All Things Advocacy.